It's that time. Christmas time is here.
Everybody knows there's not a better time of year.
Hear that sleigh. Santa's on his way.
Hip hip hooray for Christmas vacation.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 73 of Podcast Period, the internet's stupidest podcast. Yes, we've somehow made it this long. I think this is, 3 Christmases in a row?
Something
that we've
like
somehow
that.
made it? This year is going to be no less disastrous than years previous, so just don't even worry about it. I don't know if the intro that we just did has made it in, because we don't know how it sounds yet. So if you hear us singing in the beginning, then you know it's somehow, beyond all reasonable hope, made it in. It might have sounded halfway decent. It might have just sounded awful. But I won't know until the episode comes out. So anyway, this episode we didn't really have anything crazy, so we decided that we would watch a what's considered a classic Christmas film. We're gonna talk about it. We're also gonna talk about the final 2 episodes of Hawkeye. And then I'm actually really glad we had to delay recording this episode because there was a Doctor Strange teaser trailer that dropped. I don't know if you looked at the doc.
Oh.
But there was a Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness teaser trailer that dropped. And there's also another trailer that I wanted to watch that I put in here, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. I saw that. That movie looks like it's going to be hilarious, and I want to get your take on it. All right, so anyway, first things first, we're going to talk about Elf. One of my favorite Christmas movies, and I've come to find out one of David's least favorite Christmas movies, at least according to this latest watching of his. So
I'm sorry.
We'll see where the divide comes in. But before we do that, we'll do a synopsis real quick. Buddy, played by Will Ferrell, was accidentally transported to the North Pole as a toddler and raised to adulthood among Santa's elves. Unable to shake the feeling that he doesn't fit in, the adult Buddy travels to New York in full elf uniform in search of his real father. As it happens, this is Walter Hobbs, played by James Caan, a cynical businessman. After a DNA test proves this, Walter reluctantly attempts to start a relationship with the childlike Buddy with increasingly chaotic results. So, I guess before I get into why I like this movie, because I have a feeling some of the reasons why I like this movie might be some of the reasons why you don't like it. I want you to tell me why. Just why. Okay. Why, David?
So, oh gosh, where do I start? It's not that it's a bad movie, but right. I think you might be right. I think some of the reasons why you might like it might be the same reasons I don't like it. I think I have the same problem you have with Polar Express. As far as my understanding, it was too far off left field. Is that a fair way to put it?
I mean, the most of the reason that I don't like Polar Express is the whole Uncanny Valley thing. I can't watch it. I can't. It's too weird to look at. It's one of those attempts at animating real life that did not turn out well at all.
So it's not necessarily the storyline so much. It's
no.
Just you don't like the way the movie looks.
No, I hate the way the movie looks. The story itself is fine, if kind of basic, but I don't like watching that movie.
Okay. Well, that makes a little bit more sense. Well, then it's not the same reason, because Elf looks good. I mean, it was made in 2003. It's a live-action film. They did a little bit of, claymation at the North Pole, the penguin, the polar bear, I think there was a snowman. It just...
The same snowman from Rudolph.
Yeah, it's just too far off left field for me. It's wow. It's funny at times, but then it's this is stupid at other times. And I had the feeling it's stupid way more than I should have for anything to be enjoyable. And I know a lot of people are going to hate me for saying that because a lot of people like this film. Maybe if I was exposed to it at a younger age and maybe learned to like it, I'd have different feelings. But I remember why I've avoided it all these years. Like, I subconsciously knew that I didn't like the film, but I haven't watched it in so long. It's like, well, how do I know? Like, I don't have a recent opinion or experience to base that off of. My foregone conclusion has been verified. There is a reason why I didn't like the film.
What parts exactly do you think are stupid?
Okay, the whole story. I liked how he decorated the whole Santa's Workshop thing at this not convenience store, but department store. Whatever it's called. Like, starts with a G or something like that. Gimbals. I like that. That was cute. That was funny. And then they go and like destroy everything, and he gets like fired for no reason, except he had a very good reason because he assaulted a fake Santa Claus. And like, I don't know, maybe
how did he get fired for no reason then?
Well, he did. He got fired for assaulting the fake Santa Claus, but
yeah,
it's just like, you should have been fired a long time ago. Like, he wasn't even hired. They just random guy just pulled him off the dang floor because he's in a freaking elf suit and he thought he was like a worker or something like that. Like,
yeah,
he's not even supposed to be here. So he didn't get fired. He was never hired. So like, if anything, they abused child labor laws or something like that.
He's 30. What are you talking about?
He's 30. Okay, that's another thing. He's 30 with like the mental capacity of like a 9-year-old. And what's the explanation for that? Okay, yes, he was raised in the North Pole.
He doesn't have the mental capacity of a 9-year-old. He has maybe the experiences of a 9-year-old because he was raised by elves.
Fair, possibly. But like, come on, he's got to have some like higher functioning thoughts as far as his creativity goes. Like,
yeah, sure he does. He's creative. How do you build an entire skyscraper of New York City out of Legos if you're not creative?
That's well within the means of a child, though. We're talking about a 30-year-old man here.
Really? You're going to tell me that at 8 or 9 years old you could have built that?
Yes!
With no instructions, no anything, just pick through the pieces.
If he had 30 years of experience, if a child had 30 years of experience, knowledge imparted upon him.
They don't. That's the thing. No.
Then why doesn't he act older? Dang it. It doesn't make sense.
Because he was raised by elves.
They couldn't raise him to be older in his thought. There's older elves. His dad, his adoptive dad. His adoptive dad does not act like him in any sort of fashion whatsoever. He acts like a normal person. Innocent. No, you can't convince me otherwise, Ben.
I don't know. Listen, I think you just hate Christmas. That's what it is.
Oh, don't even. I hate Christmas. Baloney. This is the exact reason why you didn't want to watch the other movie, because you didn't want to be the guy who ends up tanking on everybody else's film. Just happened to be me that didn't like the film this time.
I mean, sucks to suck, doesn't it?
He's okay with making me public enemy number one, but he won't take the rat himself. Okay.
That's right. I
see how this
is. That's how it is.
And Santa's magic. What sense did that make? He magically loses.
What are you talking about?
He's lost whatever they called it, but let's call it Santa's magic. They had a term for that.
Christmas spirit.
Yeah, Christmas spirit. It's gone down, it's dwindled over years. And you're going to tell me that one little sleigh ride through the park that nobody got to see, as far as the whole wide world goes, because that idiotic camera lady couldn't get her act together? Too focused about the show being about her? Talk about being self-centered. She was self-centered. And don't argue with me on that one either. How is that magically refilled in one little sleigh ride? It's a problem that's happened over decades. They say that themselves in the movie. It's not even me saying that. They established that in the movie. He had to build that jetpack or jet turbine engine for the sleigh, 60 years ago or something like that?
Right.
It's magically filled in one night?
Yeah, why not?
Because a random group of strangers around the park who hadn't seen anything yet happened to be singing Christmas carols because one brave soul... Oh, that's the other thing. One brave soul that took pity on this poor guy and has a relationship with him?
Yeah.
Because he's got the creativity of a child?
He doesn't have the creativity of a child. He has the creativity of a 30-year-old with the skills of an elf.
Who acts like a child?
No, he acts like an elf.
Who acts like a child?
No, he acts like an elf.
Who acts like a child? You already said that he had the creativity of a child.
I don't know, David.
There's a word for that, and we both know what it is, and it's not good.
Yeah, innocent.
No!
Yeah.
Him, yes. Her, not so much.
Whatever. I can kind of see where you're coming from, but at the same time, there's a point in this movie where you just have to suspend disbelief. And I think the point is when a child gets brought up to the North Pole. Because, I mean, realistically, if you're going to pick this movie apart, that's the first thing you should pick apart. It's a Christmas movie.
Oh, yes.
About a man...
A baby abduction.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
That's another reason not to like this movie. He straight up abducted a baby by mistake, but he didn't take him back or anything like that.
No, because he was in an orphanage. Who cares?
His
parents were dead.
His future family cares.
He had a much better life in the North Pole. You gonna tell me that he didn't have a much better life in the North Pole than in some rinky-dink orphanage?
He probably grew up much less miserable. I will give you that.
Exactly.
He probably grew up much less miserable.
Exactly. I think you're just putting way too much thought into this movie. That's what it is.
It's a stupid movie.
I'll let you believe what you want to believe.
It's a stupid
because I know that you just hate Christmas. So
give me the Grinch. Give me Scrooge.
Oh, that's what you are right now.
Yeah, which one? Scrunch or Grooge? Scrunch or Grooge?
You're Grooge, yeah.
Oh my gosh. What is a Grooge?
Huh.
Is he a cheap Grinch? A penny pinching Grinch? Or is he just a green Scrooge?
He would have to be a green Scrooge.
He'd have to be a green Scrooge. Okay. I'll buy that. Nobody else will buy that. Especially him if he's penny pinching.
Anyway, so...
Okay, why do you like it?
I don't know. It's just fun. It's a fun movie. It's, like I said, it's just something that you have to suspend disbelief for. Because at the point where you have a baby going to the North Pole, all bets are off. You know? I can kind of get where you're coming from with the whole like, childlike thing, I guess. But, I mean, he wasn't raised around people. So he doesn't know how to act around people. He only knows how to act around elves.
But that, I can see that with the creativity, but he literally throws together a plate of freaking spaghetti and puts syrup on it. And then douses it with, like, candy and sprinkles and other confectionery treats, Pop-Tarts.
Yeah, it's the four main food groups, the syrup.
You're telling me he was up there for 30 years and they couldn't advance him past a 5-year-old's idea of a good breakfast?
That's their idea of a good breakfast.
No, it's not. Not all of them are just brain dead stupid. They show that. He literally did nothing right. There's other people up there that talked. They bullied him. That's another thing. They bullied him. It doesn't make sense.
Nobody bullied him. What are you talking about?
Saying he couldn't do anything right? That's a full of bullying.
Him.
Well, they didn't say it to his face. They said it behind his back. That's worse.
Yeah. Were they wrong?
Not talking about if they're right or they're wrong.
Okay.
You have to admit, there is no logic to this whatsoever.
I didn't say there was any logic to it. What's the logic of having a 30-year-old man live up on the North Pole with elves?
He was brought
that don't
there.
Exist. That, mind you, don't exist in real life, David. I hate to break it to you. I know this might be shattering your image of Christmas, okay?
Oh, talk
Santa Claus. Santa Claus isn't real.
Oh,
there is no jolly green giant. There's no jolly man in a red fat suit, okay? Going around flying reindeer in one night, bringing presents to all the children of the world, okay? Trust me, I know. I'm buying presents for my children.
You're buying presents for your children. I'm buying presents for your dang children. Tell me about who's buying presents for your children.
So, that being said...
Talk about somebody who doesn't believe in Christmas. Oh,
whatever. That being said, all of your points are moot.
It's a stupid movie. I don't know what they could have done to make it more fun. Maybe it's the way it's spread out. Maybe there's not enough humor in it. They tried at times. It's just all over the place. I don't know. Anyways.
Okay. So, out of 5 elf hats, what are you going to give this movie?
Elf hats? Really?
Yeah, what would you say?
Out of all the things that are in this.
Okay, fine. Out of 5 syrup-covered spaghetti plates.
There we go. That's unique to this movie. Thank you.
What are you going to give this movie?
It's a 3. It's a 3.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair. I think I would give this more like a 4.25. But
okay. I'll buy that. I didn't say it's a terrible movie. I said it's a stupid movie.
You're a stupid movie. Okay, anyway.
Ben.
Okay. I listened to, or I heard this a week ago or something, right after we listened to, or right after we recorded our last episode, and I wanted, this is apparently not a real thing, but it's still funny anyway. I want to get your reaction.
I know where this is going. I didn't even get to read I didn't even read the title. I just clicked play, and as soon as I heard the music, I was like, "Oh, here we go."
I said, you know I like to eat 11 days a week. Wings and pizza, stuff that crust with extra cheese. Yeah, we feasting on some wings and pizza. I'm so hungry, I can't stop. Bring that wings and pizza. Give me all the ranch you got for that wings and pizza. Pizza Hut is a piece of art. Extra large, click, add to cart. Eat Parmesan right off the plate. Red pepper flakes got me sweating hard. Wings so hot, making me cry. Dabba the Reaper, I wanna die. Lemon and pepper, all on my fries. I paid in cash, my card was declined. Bake that bun, watching it rise. Bigger the cake, the bigger the thighs. I'm gonna bounce these Big Mac buns right in the back of my yard. I'ma scream for ice cream out in public, make a scene. I got cookbooks, but I don't read. Better believe I know how to eat. Combo, copy it, pepperoni.
Too good. If only it was real.
Card was declared.
I'm not sure how we're going to feature this, but this is a WAP parody.
Oh, it's going in the episode.
I thought it was an actual Kids Bop thing, and I wish to God it was, but it's just a parody that somebody made. Either way, it is hilarious. Oh, man.
How much of that song have you actually heard?
More than I care to ever have listened to.
Like by accident or like on the regular?
No, I don't. I think I may have tried listening to it once, and then I quit probably about a quarter of the way through the song.
That cringy.
I was like, what's so fascinating about this song? Nothing. It was awful. The worst song, one of the worst things I've ever heard in my life.
It's terrible. It's so funny, though. That's why I listen to it, just because of how bad it is. It allows me to appreciate the more eclectic and finer sounds of music that I like to listen to.
Is that what you're gonna go with? Is that what you're gonna go with?
It brings the bar down for everything else to overachieve. Just puts everything else on a higher pedestal. Pure divine music. Anything would sound divine compared to that.
No problem.
I don't know how that ever made it out, to be honest.
God only knows. Okay. Shall we move on to Hawkeye?
Let's.
All right. So, as we said before, we are covering the final 2 episodes of Hawkeye. This show was only 6 episodes long, which I think makes it... I think it's the shortest series that they've released so far, right?
I want to say that is correct.
Because What If was 8. I'm pretty sure Falcon and the Winter Soldier was 7. And then I think WandaVision was 8 as well.
I couldn't believe it was only going to be 6 episodes. I mean, if you didn't know that before you watched it, you definitely know that after. Because if that's not an ending to end all endings, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
Like, that was one of the cleanest, I think, cinched off in a bow out of all these. Just...
Yeah, for real. There wasn't even like an actual after credit scene this time.
It was just done. It was like, how refreshing. I don't have to ponder about anything else for the rest of the year.
Well, until we go see Spider-Man anyway. Then we'll have a lot to ponder.
We'll have a lot to ponder.
Okay. So, episode 5, Ronin. In 2018, Belova and fellow Black Widow Sonya visit a woman named Annie who has been helping deprogram Black Widows. While there, Belova becomes a victim of the blip. In the present, Bishop returns to Eleanor's house and tells her about Duquesne's shell corporation, leading Eleanor to call the NYPD and have him arrested. Bishop returns to her apartment, where she finds Belova waiting for her before the latter reveals her past and mission to kill Barton. Meanwhile, after recovering at Girl's apartment, Barton dons the Ronin suit and confronts Lopez at the auto shop where he killed her father. During the fight, he unmasks himself and attempts to convince her to let go of her vendetta and leave his family alone. He reveals that an informant working for Lopez's boss wanted her father dead, but Lopez initially disbelieves him. Bishop arrives to help Barton escape, while Lopez becomes suspicious of Kazi, who was absent on the night of her father's death. The next day, Belova texts Bishop, revealing that she was hired by Eleanor to kill Barton, and that Eleanor was working with Lopez's uncle, whom Barton identifies as Kingpin. So, 2 things about this episode that I thought were cool. First thing, well, 2 you already know about both of them, but the first thing that I wanted to bring up was the super cool special effect that they did when Belova becomes a victim of the blip. She splashes her face. In the middle of splashing her face, she gets dusted, and then she comes back together and the room starts transforming around her. That is one of the cleanest, one of the coolest special effects that I think I have seen in a Marvel anything so far. That's like the perfect representation of a person's experience of like them going through the blip, basically, because they don't know what the heck happened. They're just gone 1 second and back the next, basically, for them. So I thought that was a really cool way to illustrate the passage of time between being dusted and then being reformed. And then second thing, Kingpin. I think everybody who's in the know kind of figured this is where this was going. Kingpin was going to be introduced eventually. I am glad that they kept Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin because he did such a good job in the Daredevil Netflix show. I don't think anybody else could have done it. What about you?
I'm with you. I think that effect was one of the coolest effects and it's so much better than anything else that they could have done. Like, they could have, like, blank screened for a second. They could have panned to her, splashing her face. Like, we had the perspective cameras behind her. We see her face through the mirror. They could have just had the camera from, like, the mirror's perspective looking out and just into this room and, like, maybe black screened it and poof, she's there again. There's so many ways that they could have done it that would have never had done the justice that we got with that. That was perfect, especially the whole room transformation thing. I was like, that is really cool. And that, I think that would be like the most jarring effect. Like, you didn't know what was happening and the room stayed the same. You might not realize what was going on, but just everything in her surroundings being totally different. It's like a psychedelic trip or something like that. You'd be wondering what in the world was in that water. And then, yeah, Kingpin was just, it was kind of led up to for a while as far as somebody is playing a higher figure, a puppet master, so to speak, between these different characters, whether it be Tracksuit Mafia or even, what's her name? Bishop. Not Kate, the mother.
Eleanor.
You kind of got the feeling something was up with her a couple of times in the series, but then you didn't really know. It's like, okay, something's not right, but didn't realize how highly connected she was with this. And the fact that, well, this is the next episode, so I guess I can't say it yet. Who she was involved with in far as getting axed.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was a good one. I liked it a lot.
So I don't think there was anything else crazy about this episode. The synopsis basically covered everything else. I think that was the biggest two moments out of this episode. So, what would you give this episode out of 5?
Had we just, I'm really glad we didn't have a chance to record sooner, because that meant we got to get this episode in, or the last episode in. I feel like that this episode would have been a little lower had I had to stew and wait. I'm not sure. I feel like having the conclusion as fast as we did gives you the opportunity to elevate this particular episode a little bit more. But it's hard to say.
Yeah.
I almost feel like it would have been lower had I not gotten a resolution so fast. Like, if I had to formulate this opinion on Monday before seeing the final episode, like we planned on doing, I don't know if it would have been any higher than like a 3.75. Which is bad compared to some of the other episode ratings that we've given. I think the lowest I gave was like a 3.5 or a 3.75, and that was like 3 or 4, where there wasn't a lot of action, and it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
This one being as it was, I feel like belongs at like a 4.25. But I feel like waiting would have brought it down. So I'm glad we didn't have to.
Yeah.
This is like a 4.
I'm with you. I think I would go for a 4.25 on this one too. This is a good episode.
That's fair.
But it's definitely elevated by the finale.
By the finale, exactly.
Okay, so speaking of the finale, episode 6. So this is Christmas. As Eleanor meets with Kingpin to break off their partnership, Barton and Bishop watch a recording of them and learn that Eleanor killed Armand and framed Duquesne. On Christmas Eve, Barton and Bishop attend Eleanor's holiday party, where Bishop confronts her mother and learns her father owed money to Kingpin, leading to Eleanor working with him. Kazi attempts to assassinate Eleanor on Kingpin's orders, but targets Barton instead. Barton enlists help from Grills, the LARPers, and Duquesne to evacuate the party before rejoining Bishop to defeat the Tracksuit Mafia. After Lopez kills Kazi, Bishop attempts to look for Eleanor while Barton is confronted by Belova, who demands the truth of Natasha Romanoff's death. They fight, but he eventually reminds her of his close friendship with Natasha and her sacrifice to save the universe. Belova decides to walk away after sparing him. Kingpin tries to stop Eleanor from escaping, but Bishop arrives and incapacitates him with Barton's trick arrows. Afterwards, Eleanor is arrested by the police for Armand's murder. Kingpin escapes, but is confronted by Lopez. The next day, Barton returns to his family with Bishop, returns the watch to Laura, and burns the Ronin suit. So 2 things that stand out to me in this episode. 1, the confrontation between Lopez and Kingpin.
Yes, I don't like how the synopsis. I don't like how the synopsis left it. He escapes, but then is confronted. It's like, no, there is no confrontation going on. That man is dead. Or
I don't. Listen,
or it could be.
I am going to go with. We heard a gunshot. We don't know what happened. Because that man was shot in the chest with an arrow.
I was hoping you'd give
pulls it out.
Devil's advocate on that.
Pulls it out.
Good job, Ben. Good job.
The way that they deliberately pulled away from that shot gives me the feeling that he is still alive.
Or it wasn't him that got the gun pulled on him.
I mean, he had a gun pointed at him when she was there. Whether or not she actually, well, she probably shot him. Whether or not the shot actually did anything is a different story. Because I feel like I don't think Kingpin has any actual superpowers as far as I know in the comics or anything.
Something's not right though, because like that arrow should have blown him up. Like, that was funny to watch. He gets sent flying from, I don't know what arrow it was. It may have been one of the ones that he created, that Clint created with Bishop with one of Stark's gadgets. I'm not entirely sure. The whole special arrows scene was hilarious. All the different things that happened. The tiny truck gets taken off by a hawk. I'm like, oh, well, I guess we don't have to ask Scott about what's going to happen next now. Like, all of that was just gold. It was pure gold. I loved it.
Okay, so according to Wikipedia, this isn't specifically the Marvel MCU universe version of it. This is like comics, but
yeah.
While Kingpin has no superhuman powers, he is incredibly strong and significantly more durable than the average human, possessing remarkable strength concealed by his extremely corpulent appearance, which I assume is that, he looks fat.
Yeah.
Most of his body mass is actually muscle that has been built to extraordinary size, much like a super heavyweight sumo wrestler or some Olympic weightlifters and powerlifters, but at greater strength levels. He has been shown strong enough to hurl large men across a room, which we saw, and leave imprints in concrete walls after punching them. Defying his size, the Kingpin is a master of many forms of armed and unarmed combat, especially sumo wrestling. It also says here that he typically wears Kevlar armor under his clothing.
So that would explain the arrows.
Mm-hmm.
And that's also not going to bode well for a gunshot.
Exactly. Unless we're going for, a headshot. But like...
We've seen a lot of Marvel heroes make that mistake before, so...
Mm-hmm. That's right.
It's perfectly...
Yeah, see, that's why I don't like the way that they left that shot, because I feel like it leaves it way too open to interpretation. But at the same time, I don't think they would have brought Vincent D'Onofrio back for, maybe 15, 20 minutes of screen time
Something
in one
like
episode
that.
of an MCU movie.
Yeah, and that's it.
So
I
don't know.
Something
we'll
fun's
have to
gonna
see.
happen, I hope.
Whether or not he's going to come back and make an appearance on anything else, it remains to be seen. But who knows? Who knows?
Got my fingers crossed on that one.
And then the whole watch thing, I thought it was pretty interesting that it was actually Laura's watch and not Clint's.
Oh, whose did you think it was going to be?
I figured it was going to be Clint's. I don't know.
I loved how that tied together your previous theory that she may have somehow been involved with S.H.I.E.L.D. or something along the lines. Explains all of the connections that she had. The fact that she knows things, she can find information. Clearly, the girl's got some skill. No, I totally expected the watch to be hers.
Okay. I think that's pretty much this entire final episode. The only problem that I have with this final episode is the confrontation between Belova and Clint. That whole ending with the whistle just kind of feels forced. I get that it would be extremely hard, if not impossible, to convince her of what actually happened, that, they fought to be the ones to throw themselves off this cliff to get this incredibly powerful stone that technically no longer exists. But the whole whistle thing just seems like a little bit of a cop-out to me. I don't know. I don't know of a different way that they could have resolved that. But I also know that the way that they did resolve that just didn't, I don't know, it didn't really make a whole lot of sense to me, I guess.
The only thing that I guess it served to prove was how deep the relationship actually had gone. At least as far as Natasha and Clint.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
You can't really... I mean, yes, you can. There's people that backstab people all the time, but it'd be really hard to expect that somebody who's apparently been shared enough information, they've gotten that deep of a connection with each other, and then believe that they're going to kill them, murder them.
Right.
I wish there was something else that they could have done to explain what had happened. I don't know. I'm like you. I don't know what. I get the whistle. I'm kind of with you, but at the same time, I don't have a better explanation on how to. There was the only way that was going to get resolved is one of them is going to be dead. B, she was going to realize that she has the wrong idea of what happened. They chose B.
Right.
Via the whistle. And okay, sure.
Yeah.
Maybe a photo, a memory, something else besides the whistle. A heart-to-heart realization. They fight really, really hard. He gets her in a position where he could have killed her, and he doesn't. And he uses that to try to explain, okay, I don't want to hurt you. This is what happened. Or would you just shut up and listen? Something like that could have worked. Maybe. Like a forced uncle situation. I surrender. I don't know. I don't know a better way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the only thing. I would have more of an issue with it if I could think of a better way to do it, but I can't. So,
yeah,
I guess the whistle is like the next best thing,
The forced surrender is the only other idea I can think of, and
yeah,
somehow I don't think he has it. I mean, he's been through a lot in the last few episodes. He's been in a lot of trouble the last week of Christmas. He's been stuck in a tree, for crying out loud. Like, this man doesn't have a lot left in him. Like, he's been taken through the ringer, so
yeah,
I'm not convinced that he could have overpowered her and subdued her either. So
yeah. All right. So, what would you give this last episode?
Oh
Out of
gosh.
5?
It's damn near a 5. I don't know if
Yeah.
I can give it a 5. 4.75. Let's call it that.
I'll have to. I'll go for like a 4.5 on this one. I think I liked it a lot. And then the series overall. What do you think?
4.5.
Me too. Yeah. Do you like this better than all the other ones, or you still think? I still think Loki is probably my top, but this is like a really close second.
Okay, so I look back. WandaVision and What If both have 9. Everything else has actually had 6. So it's not the shortest. They're actually keeping it pretty.
Loki was only 6.
Loki
really?
and Falcon and the Winter Soldier were both 6 episodes.
Wow.
WandaVision turned out to be 9, and so was What If. So, and it's about the same length. Not knowing where, I don't think this is going to get any kind of continuation. Doesn't feel like it. Maybe there's an arc that they can continue with. I'm not sure. I don't see anything possible for WandaVision at this point. Falcon and the Winter Soldier has potential. Loki's almost guaranteed at this point. But not knowing where everything goes. If
Loki doesn't get a season 2, then...
Yeah, exactly. It's hard to put this one above or below Loki. I would put this above Falcon and the Winter Soldier, even though I like that one a lot.
Yeah.
I just don't know if I can say that this is 2 or 1. Like, it's hard fought between Loki and Hawkeye for that number 1 spot.
I think Loki is still going to be my number 1 for this, and I do still really enjoy Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but I think overall I enjoyed Hawkeye more. This was a really, really well put together series as far as all of the ones up until this point have been concerned.
It's been the least complained about. For sure.
Yeah, for real.
I think from us anyways.
I think Loki was kind of confusing at first, but as it pulled together, it got way, 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 way better. Which probably is why it's still my number 1. But this, as an overall, like, front to back, start to finish, I don't have really any complaints with it, except like the minor whistle thing, but like, whatever, you know.
But you're still leaving it at 2?
Yeah, I still have to leave it at 2.
Okay. So, sounds like me and you are switched on 1 and 2. I don't know if I can say that this is 1. Let's just call it a tie between those 2. 3, I'm guessing for both of us, is then going to be probably Falcon and the Winter Soldier?
Yeah. My list would be Loki, Hawkeye, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, WandaVision, What If.
Okay. Same. Except for the fact that I can't decide between Loki and Hawkeye right now.
Which is fair.
What If is definitely at the bottom. WandaVision, even though it was the first, it slid compared to the ones that we've watched subsequently.
Yeah. I feel like
Falcon's like dead middle out of all this stuff. Like, it wasn't the best, but it's definitely not the worst we've seen. So it's tracking solidly in the middle.
Loki, I feel like WandaVision, comparatively to all the other ones, even though we've kind of complained about how short all of the other series are, WandaVision now kind of feels like it outstayed its welcome a little bit. Like, I think it got too long for its own good.
I think the first 2 episodes is unnecessary. I think that could have been combined into 1.
Yeah,
There's
fair.
some things that happened that didn't really set up where this was going, and it got a little long in the tooth. And then there's probably 1 or 2 episodes in the middle that also probably could have been combined in somewhere, and maybe they probably could have gotten that into 7 episodes easily.
Yeah.
It may have been a stretch to do 6. I understand What If being longer because it was supposed to be different scenarios that didn't necessarily play one into the next. It was just asking the question a couple of different times. I easily could have done without a couple of those episodes, but zombies.
Okay, so let's move on to the final section of the show. We've got 4 trailers. First one up, the new teaser for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Don't cast that spell. It's too dangerous. Why? We tampered with the stability of space-time. The multiverse is a concept about which we know frighteningly little. Your desecration of reality will not go unpunished. It was the only way. But I never meant for any of this to happen. Wanda.
I knew sooner or later you'd show up. I made mistakes, and people were hurt.
I'm not here to talk about Westview.
Then what are you here for?
I need your help.
With what?
What do you know about the multiverse? I'm sorry, Stephen.
I hope you understand. The greatest threat to our universe is you.
Things just got out of hand.
So, not only are we finally getting Baron Mordo back from the first Doctor Strange movie, we're also getting Strange Supreme from What If and Wanda.
And Wanda.
Wow.
Oof.
That's... I was kind of expecting Wanda in this.
I was not expecting Strange Supreme.
No, not at all.
We could have predicted Wanda, and as soon as they had... Even before we got into the official teaser trailer, they had like a little glimpse of things happening. I saw her hand. I was like, okay, well, we know she's in this.
Yeah.
And then they actually roll into the actual trailer where she's fully into it. And I'm like, okay. That might elevate WandaVision in my head a little bit, maybe, depending on what the consequences are. But then we got, I kind of thought it was him at first, like, we see the dragon deal, and I'm like, it's a little sus. And then we get the line, the greatest threat to this universe, and I knew they were going to say, is you.
Is you.
Called that. And then we see Strange Supreme. It's like, okay, that's confirmed. But this is weird. Like, maybe What If is going to play bigger than we thought.
I don't know. I mean, it could be that they used What If to just introduce the concept of Strange Supreme, and
that way at least we have a footing.
Right, and we're never going to see anything else come out of it. Although I think they're doing a Marvel Zombies thing, so I guess we'll see how that goes. Maybe we'll both hate that. That'll be... Anyway, I'm interested to see where this goes, because obviously this is like a consequence, at least it seems, of him doing that whole spell for Peter in No Way Home. So not only does it have consequences for Spider-Man, which we don't know the results of yet because we haven't seen the movie, but we will.
Have you seen anything? I've
been avoiding spoilers like the plague.
So lucky that nobody's creeped. There's
been this one guy on TikTok that went to like the premiere that I watched. I've been watching all of his videos because he does a lot of like Marvel theories and stuff, and it's really interesting. But all he has been talking about after going to that stupid premiere is the movie. so I've had to skip every video.
Shut up, dude. We made a pact. The whole freaking Marvel fan base made a pact. No spoilers, dang it. Don't do it. Don't do it. And of
You
course,
gotta at
we're
least
going
wait
to.
until it's out of the theaters.
Yes, please. Or just don't
man.
listen to anything, which is really hard. Like, you could just be scrolling by and boom. There it is. Like, no! Don't.
I still haven't gotten any confirmation whether the other two Spider-Men are in it or anything.
I've seen things
I
that suggest. I don't know. Neither do I.
I don't want to know.
I
don't want to know until I see the movie.
Yes.
Will I be disappointed?
Probably.
Maybe. I don't know. But at least I'll be disappointed in the movie and not before I go see the movie.
And then we'll have a shoulder to cry on.
That's right.
Or vice versa, because
Peter
got dusted, I got pretty emotional in that movie. So
I have seen the numbers for that movie, though. It's the second biggest opening.
Oh, yeah.
In the world, like, ever. And I think they said that it's, like, the highest rated Marvel movie ever released. So
I wonder if that's I wonder if that's like the fan base rally.
Let's see Rotten Tomatoes. Hold on. Rotten Tomatoes. Oh, Spider-Man No Way Home. Here we go.
Spoilers.
94 critic, 99 audience score. So I think we're good.
I was going to say, I wonder if that's the fan base rallying around this movie, because this is like the first big thing. Like, okay, yes, we had Black Widow, but
yeah, besides Black Widow, and we had Black Widow, we've had Black Widow, Shang-Chi, and the Eternals so far released in theaters. I think Shang-Chi was the only one that really made a big like splash, but even that compared to this is like nothing.
I expect it though, because Shang-Chi is
Shang-Chi
basically
is an origin
new
film.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Eternals is something, unless you've gone delving into the comics, as far as the MCU is concerned, it does not exist. Or at least until that point. Something else that we gotta watch. I don't expect those to bring
Disney Plus in like January or something.
Good. We'll have to watch that. Maybe we'll review that as well. I don't expect those to bring in the crowds. Bring in this is Spider-Man. It's the third in the trilogy. It's established that
fourth time. Let's see. Civil War, Spider-Man 1 and 2, Infinity War, Endgame. So this is his sixth time on screen.
Very well established character at this point. Plus the hype that everybody's hoping the other ones were in it.
Mm-hmm.
Which
plus you have
Doctor
Strange.
Yeah. And just the trailers too. It's like, oh god, this looks so good.
And all of the already confirmed villains.
Mm-hmm.
Like Electro and Dr. Octopus, and I think Lizard is in there too.
Crazy.
It's gonna be crazy.
So they gave it enough for a lot of different. It doesn't even have to be MCU fans. Assuming that they're in there, and even if they're not in there, the fact that Doc Ock is in there, that's tying in a previous fan base as well from the original Spider-Man movies from Sony and whatnot. So I'm not surprised one bit.
No,
it just better live up. That's all I'm saying, at least to us.
Yeah. We'll just have to wait and see.
I guess if we come out disappointed, then there's just something wrong with us.
Yeah. Maybe we can complain about it on the podcast, and it'll get us like a bunch of views if people hate on us. Maybe that's what we should do. We'll just pretend to hate it.
Oh Lord.
Anyway, okay. So let's move on to our next trailer for The Northman.
Now, behold.
He's here. He's here.
Mother! Father is here!
The king, milady. The king.
Your fate is set and you cannot escape it.
This kingdom will be yours.
Thank you, Father, my king.
Feel now.
I will avenge you, Father! I will save you, Mother! I will kill you, Fiona!
I will avenge you, Father. I will save you, Mother. I will kill you, Fiona.
I don't know. I guess that looks fine. Doesn't really look like anything spectacular to me.
You know what we didn't do? We didn't give our final ratings for the last trailer.
I think we know what we're going to do for that one. Let's not even pretend.
Unfortunately, I cannot say the same for this one. I don't even think I'd wait for a review, to be honest.
Yeah, like, I would honestly have to say I'm going to pass on it. Like, the thing is, it has all the hallmarks of a movie that I should like. It looks like it's got decent action. It's got a revenge story. You know, I've seen plenty of movies like that. This trailer just did not inspire anything in me.
Nope.
Like, at all.
Just looked like something of like, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not going to care about
it. No. Yeah, so man, that adds another to, like, what, the 4 or 5 that we've ever said that we wouldn't see?
Something like that. Yeah, it's a hard pass. Total opposite of Doctor Strange.
Yeah, 100%. All right, let's move on to the next one, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
Nick, you've been living at the Sunset Tower for over a year.
They love having me there.
You owe them $600,000.
Okay, I'm gonna deal with all that, but I'm gonna get this next role. And when I do, all of that changes. Then I'm back.
Not that you went anywhere.
Nicolas Cage, oh my God, I love you. He was so good in The Rock.
What about Gone in 60 Seconds?
Have you seen Croods 2?
No, I'm 44 years old. Why the fuck would I see Croods 2? I've seen Face Off and Con Air.
We got another offer.
What's it about?
You head to southern Spain and you attend a wealthy gentleman's birthday party.
I would never do that.
It's $1 million, Nick.
I'll take it. The guy that owns this house, what's his name?
Javi.
Look, if Javi wants me to fuck his wife or watch me watch him fuck his wife, that's a no-go. You understand? That's no bueno.
I am Javi.
Nick Cage.
If the tagline for this movie doesn't perfectly describe the movie, I don't know what does. The most Nicolas Cage movie of all time. Oh my gosh.
You know,
hilarious.
I saw that this was happening like a week or so ago. I didn't see the trailer for it, and I'm like, that sounds like that could be really interesting, but it also sounds like it could be really stupid. Like cringy.
I think this plays into it the perfect amount. It's fictional enough that you can buy into it.
Yep.
But it's also just got that perfect amount of Nick Cage zaniness in it.
Yep.
That it doesn't really make a difference whether or not it's believable. You know? I would have to say I'd go see this in the theaters.
I would.
If given the opportunity.
I would. 100%.
This looks hilarious.
100%. This is definitely something that we'd go watch too. Like, ugh.
Oh yeah. 100%.
That was
right.
funny.
Final trailer. The Bad Guys.
Hey, you! Get over here. Oh, I know what it is. You're afraid because I'm the big bad wolf. The villain of every story.
Duh.
And this is the crew. Miss Tarantula, Mr. Shark, Mr. Piranha, Mr. Snake.
Everyone copy.
Copy. Copy. Copy. Copy. We're the bad guys.
It's crime time, baby. Shark. We need a distraction.
Do I get to improvise?
Fine, please be subtle.
I'm having a baby! Is there a doctor? Or perhaps several security guards that could leave their post and help
given a chance to be anything more than criminals. But these are the cards we've been dealt, so we might as well play them. Here, let me help you. Are you okay, ma'am?
Thank you, dear. You're such a good boy.
Wait, what? Oh, good, yeah. You ever wonder what it'd be like if the world wasn't scared of us?
Never gonna happen.
Guys, we're gonna go good.
Did you get hit on the head?
You villains have an image problem. You need a makeover.
So criminal. Well, there goes our street cred.
I don't know. I'd say this is pretty by the numbers.
By the numbers. Pretty typical up DreamWorks deck of cards type deal.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. The only thing I would say that it has going for it is the animation. The animation is pretty interesting. It's got a mixture of traditional 3D animation, kind of stilted the way that Into the Spider-Verse has their animation, you know? It's got some action lines, but it's not necessarily 100% comic booky.
No.
So, I thought that was a pretty interesting choice, but besides that, it seems like a pretty by the numbers, like regular DreamWorks movie. So I don't know.
It had some humorous parts to it in the trailer, at least.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I almost can predict it now. They used all the funny lines in the trailer, and there isn't anything left for the dang movie.
Yeah,
because that's happened.
I'd have to say probably wait for a review on this one.
I agree.
Anyway. That is going to be it for this very special Christmas episode, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Be sure to leave a rating on whatever podcasting platform you have to be listening on. Hit us up on Twitter if you want to talk about anything. And, if you're on YouTube, leave us a like, subscribe, hit the bell, all that good stuff. See you in the next episode. Bye-bye.
Happy holidays, guys.
You can feel the magic in the air.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Podcast Period. This episode was hosted and produced by Ben, co-hosted and edited by David. You can contact Ben on Twitter at BenPlaysVidges. That's Ben Plays, VIDYAS. And you can contact David on Twitter at Car6by16. If you'd like to chat with us about any of the topics on this episode, you can hit the show up at Podcast Period on Twitter, or shoot us an email at podcastperiodpodcast@gmail.com. That's all for this episode. We'll see you next time.